Alright, another game here against Mr. Romanista. I played him a couple of other times. We actually split the first two games. I wanted to record a game here, our third game, because his deck is actually quite good against Edric. Definitely a challenge, especially going second. Game 2 I just got run over by a perfect curve of red-black dorks. Turn 1 Stormcrick Noble, turn 2 2-1 guy, next turn 3-2 regenerating guy, and I had a fairly slow draw. This game, unfortunately I'm going second, and my draw is fairly slow, but I do have strip mine to slow him down, which is nice. So provided he doesn't have a good turn 1 play, I'm in good shape. So I'm just going to kill his swamp, hope to draw a mana guy. I've made quite a few changes to the Edric deck, it definitely has more top-end power, a little bit less early game speed, but I think it's probably worth it in the long run. I also smoothed out the mana base and added Raphellos. Before I was only running, I think, maybe 3 basic forests and 2 of the duals, and now I've got a total of 8, 6 basic forests and 2 dual lands, which I think definitely makes Raphellos pretty strong. Same thing is true for Shackles. I cut the situational legendary lands like Pendelhaven and the Okina Temple. Drawing Mox Diamond here is very pro. Just to keep up, he plays Slavering Nulls with his, speaking of legendary lands that screw your deck up. I don't think either of these cards is probably worth it. Well, I guess maybe this one, but this one gives, what, first strike to legendary creatures, and his commander already has first strike, so this seems totally decadent and bad. I drew a 1-1 there. So I thought about just playing the Quirion Ranger and hoping he didn't have a swamp plus removal, but I kind of want to get Edric in play instead. Might as well use all my mana since I can't counterspell with Unified Will anyway. So I'm thinking here, like, please don't have a swamp and a removal spell. Please, please, please. So there's the removal spell. Teetering Peaks, not a swamp. Gotta be happy about that. I drew a counterspell here. So I have a lot to think about here. I could play just Quirion Ranger and expect to just block his guy and counterspell his Blood Witch, but I'm sitting on Sword of Fire and Ice, and my feeling is that I'm not really that terrified of this thing in the long term, because if I put out Quirion Ranger, next turn I've got 5 mana. I could even go Sword, equip, attack, kill his Slavering Nulls, take a couple hits from this guy. It's not really the end of the world, and I think his deck would have a very hard time actually dealing with a pro-red 3-3. So with that in mind, I don't really mind him casting the Witch, and I'd rather hopefully play Glenalendra and then equip it, and then I've got a 4/4 pro-red guy with Persist, which is of course a nightmare for his deck. I can kill the Nulls, I can block the Nulls, and I decide I'm just going to do this, because even if he can kill the Glenalendra Archmage, I can still trade with the Nulls. And so he draws, there's a swamp off the top, most likely. And of course I'm just going to block here. And then this happens. Ugh. Mind Twist. I really, really want Sword of Fire and Ice here. I don't care about the rest of the cards. But he does at least leave me with the counterspell. And there's the land, so that would have been the sorted guy. So I'm just going to play Edric here and hope to erase his commander. I mean, if he does tap out to cast his commander and he unleashes, then he's going to be hitting me for 4 turn, which is fine, given that I can counterattack for 2 cards a turn. He plays Gitu Encampment, a blocker for Edric. Now I expect 4 mana, I expect to see this guy. Instead he plays Desecration Demon. Pretty strong. This guy's pretty nuts. Like, he has a drawback, but that's a pretty small drawback for a 6/6 flyer for 4. Especially in a format where they don't tend to be. I mean, I guess in big multiplayer Edric and stuff, or multiplayer EDH, it's not quite as good. But in 1v1, this thing is a powerhouse. So I drove Viridian Shaman here. And I do have Counterspell, but I really have nothing else going on. And, I don't know, I want to make things happen. There's a lot of cards I could draw here. Like, I really want to get him trapped under Winter Orb, honestly. I also I could draw Tezzeret, I could draw Treachery, I could draw Bounce Spell. There's a lot of awesome cards to draw here. So, as crazy as this play seems, I decide I'm going to do this. This is known as ghetto cycling right here. Trade a Viridian Shaman and a Mox to draw 2. Because we got to get stuff. And it pays off instantly with natural order. Amazing. Allows me to play my forest here. I've got a counterspell to cover his next turn. And he dreadbores Edric. Obnoxious, but at the same time I have no other green creatures, so I kind of need to protect it. And I really want the flyer here because if I draw a way to bounce the demon, or if I draw another way to tap it, I want that evasion. Plus I can get over the Gidoo encampment. So I'm just going to counterspell Dreadbore. And he elects not to attack, which I'm happy about. That's the other thing too. If I lose the Glenelendra Archmage, there's no reason for him to hang back with the demon anymore, and I'm going to be taking 7 a turn, which makes this game a lot tighter. And off the top, Cryptic Command. Perfectly timed. So I go get a Strip Mine. My plan is basically to massively cripple his mana here. And this is also nice against a Gidoo encampment too, which if he uses that as a blocker, I can strip it away. He plays Revoker. I really thought he'd actually name Strip Mine here. I think that would totally be the right play, given the way his mana base is. But he didn't. At the end of the turn, Cryptic Command. Put the demon back in your hand, draw a card. He's hoping for a green guy. That's not a green guy, but we can attack with a flyer now. Come on, green guy, green guy, green guy, green guy. Bingo. Plays Tree Speaker. I realize I want to untap my mana. I want to get rid of black first in case he does have a terror effect in his hand. And here we go. Natural order. Big Papa. I heard you like black mana. I heard you like any color to mana. So he's going to be dropping down to basically Teetering Peaks and a Mutavault. And that is going to wrap the game up, given that he probably doesn't have any more land in hand. Lost all of his black sources. Terastrodon wraps it up. Anyway, pretty cool demonstration of some of the new changes in the deck. Drew some of the new cards here. And quite happy with it. Obviously I wasn't too happy with the Viridian Shaman. But I think the long-term potential of the card is very good. More to come. See you later.